Now, you have a wide range of interests, and I'm personally really inspired by people who keep exploring new things. But how do you manage your time between learning new things, your full time job, and personal responsibilities? How do you do it?
It's hard to find a balance, right? It's like that meme where you have a triangle and it has three things like work, relationships, or hobbies, and you can only pick two. And I feel like it's a little bit of that about the trade-offs. But yeah, like it's in my personality to want to learn new things and have different experiences. And that's also why I like design so much. I feel like I never had that one true calling, like those people who say, oh, since I'm a kid, I want to be a doctor or something. That was never really a thing for me. I always had multiple interests, and I like UX design because of that. Like I can combine multiple different things. I can work with data, I can work with research, I can work on visuals, I can do some project management, and that's all very interesting to me. I feel like every day is different a little bit. And even though I love design, it's not the only thing that I love. There are other things in my life that I want to focus on, that I want to do. So yeah, I think that it's important to find this balance. And that's something that I also learned a lot when I moved from Brazil to Austria, because at least in my reality in Brazil, in my little bubble, I feel like people were super workaholics and there was no such thing as work-life balance at all. But when I moved here to Austria, I found that people have a very different culture, at least at my company. This balance is there a lot more. People value also having hobbies and doing things just because you want to do, and they see work more as a means to that than an end in itself. And that to me was really important. It changed also my perspective. And it was great to have this example also coming from leaders, because it allowed me to set my own boundaries somehow. So for example, seeing that my leads, they were also like leaving work at a certain time and not staying there late, that they also had their interests and passions and things that they were doing outside of work. That also inspired me a lot, because I feel like there's this pressure from society that you need to be very productive all of the time and that you need to excel at everything and be the best. Honestly, that's not super realistic in a lot of places and for a lot of people, because we need to acknowledge also that like the working conditions in a lot of companies, they were not really created to ensure this work-life balance or to ensure the well-being of the employees. That's the sad reality of things. So I think that we as employees and as people, we need to acknowledge that and understand that it's fine that you cannot have everything. But for me, the way that I handle that, it's about understanding what works for me, what are my priorities, what are my boundaries. And that's something that is dynamic also. I feel like it's something that I'm constantly reevaluating, like how do I want to be using my time and what is working for me, what is not working for me. So I was thinking of a training that I did a while back for my company, a resilience training. And we did some interesting exercises in there. And one of them was this very interesting thing where we had to create a pie chart and put how we were using the 24 hours of our days, like how were we splitting our time. So you would put like, 8 hours I'm at work, 1 hour I'm commuting, 1 hour I'm doing sports, 1 hour I'm doing something else. And that was very interesting to me to analyze how I was spending my time. And then reflecting like, what are the things that I'm doing that are giving me energy, and what are the things that I'm doing that is taking away my energy, and reflecting on how would my ideal chart look like. So I felt like that was a very good exercise to see like, am I using my time in the best possible way? And in the best possible way, I don't mean like in the most productive way, because I feel like that's also what a lot of people do, like try to fit a lot of things into the 24 hours. Maybe that works for some people. That's not what works for me. But I think that's what it was something good, because it allowed me to check like my priorities, what are the things that I really care about. And once you understand that, I think it's about creating the right circumstances for you to thrive. So again, this is different from person to person, but for me, it's a lot about having a schedule and creating habits. So something that I don't have to think about anymore. So for example, that's how I handle sports. If I take a break, it's usually very hard to come back then because I lose this habit. But if I know that every day I'm going to wake up and do 30 minutes exercise, then it's just automatic and it works really well for me. And that's how I make sure that I find the time. I put it in my calendar. I also set some goals and deadlines for myself, but I also don't make this something very strict. I do it because it motivates me. But I try to be very easy on myself. So also as an example, like this last year was really hard for me, as I guess it was for a lot of people, a mix of things like with the pandemic, of course, and a work that is very demanding, some personal things. And in this last year, I wasn't able to pursue a lot of my interests and hobbies in the way that I usually do. And that is fine. Like I'm totally fine with that. I try not to put too much pressure on myself because I do have multiple interests and things that I like to do and that I want to learn or that I want to experience. But I want to do these things because they are good for me and not because I have to do them or because I want to put them in my CV or whatever. So I try to also be kind of easy on myself. So I guess that's kind of it, like knowing yourself, setting your priorities, your boundaries, creating the right circumstances, and also taking it easy sometimes.
You just saw a snippet from whiteboard.fm. You can watch the entire episode by clicking on the link in description. We have hundreds of clips on design case studies, hiring processes, and much more. This podcast is a part of the 10K Designers Network. Check out our website whiteboard.fm to learn more.